coming out of Montreal. I think the big news is talks are going to continue. The next round will be in Mexico. I've been in Mexico for round 5, and I think at this juncture, the fact that we're still talking on NAFTA renegotiations is a good
thing.
Good thing, absolutely. And of course, in the backdrop of this, they were signing the CPTPP, which is the successor of the TPP minus United States. And in terms of agriculture access, the amount of access that was negotiated under the TPP, which was negotiated in Atlanta in 2015, that was enshrined in CPTPP. And I just want to, of course, remind our audience, the provinces or territories are not part of the negotiating team. It's strictly done as per the Canadian Constitution by the Government of Canada.
So what's your sense? Bilateral and multilateral, the notion seems to be that Trump believes that a bilateral agreement is different than when you're in a multilateral read, when there could be ganging up against parties and all that kind of stuff. So one of the tenets then of NAFTA is it shouldn't be a trilateral agreement; it should be two bilateral agreements with the U.S. in the center.
Ken, from Canada's strategic point of view, we need Mexico. We need the 3 partners in the North American Free Trade Agreement. There are a couple still non-starters on the table. I think United States recognizes that, and the fact that we're talking into the next round of Mexico is very important. But what is happening in the United States? I see some shifting of the sand. There has been a real process in the States. The American Chamber of Commerce, the agricultural leaders in the United States are really putting tremendous pressure on the Trump administration, pointing out the trade relationship between Canada and the United States. 9 million American jobs are predicated on this. But if you draw a division line in the United States, when you look at the southern states, states like Nebraska, where 100% of their economy is predicated on agriculture, all their trade is being done with Mexico. So I think these forces in the United States are starting to converge, and hopefully making an impression on the current occupant of 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
So what do you think of Brian Mulroney's comment that as he's watching this, because he played such a key role in the first round, that the Prime Minister Justin Trudeau plays such a pivotal role in sort of how we go forward?
Well, I think it's important, Ken, any Prime Minister of Canada, we have a long history dating back to Sir John A. Macdonald, Canada's first Prime Minister, in terms of trade negotiation. I remember Prime Minister Laurier actually was defeated in a general election probably around 1911, I believe, when he talked about reciprocity with the United States. That was the big issue in that election. Post-World War II, Prime Ministers of Canada were at the forefront in liberalizing trade, increasing income, setting up institutions around the world that would facilitate trade in the world, allowed the Americans to rebuild Europe post-World War II. So, Mr. Trudeau will play the same role that his predecessor did in terms of advocating opportunities for trade around the world, because Canada, Ontario is an open economy, wealth predicated on trading of goods and services and commodities.